All right. Welcome back to another exciting edition of Tuesday Night Perry. It's that time of the year again where we got flies coming in through the windows. It's beautiful out today, and now that the sun's gone down and I don't have to take advantage of the nice weather, I'm inside, and we're going to be doing some design work here. Some This is a project that I've had in mind for some time that I've really kind of put off, and I'm real excited to finally get to it. We're going to be designing, and I'm going to bring over a little example here. We're going to be designing the iconic doors that you see at Pro Wrestling Grind. This has become sort of like the thing that Grind is known for. Is their cool entryway? It feels a little bit like the old, WCW Saturday Night or some of those shows, and it's just these slick little doors here that you see in this video. Rip Bison kind of goofing on. It's a cool little entryway and some sliding doors, and we're gonna try to recreate that to go with my little action figures here. These are the Hasbro scale 3D printed figures that I make. Hey, Rise in the chat, first on board. Welcome, my friend. Yeah, so we're gonna try to recreate these, and I there's a few challenges that lie in this. The first is I do actually want the little doors to slide. So this is going to be something that prints in multiple parts. Um, hey, Nickabeans is in the chat. Glad you could make it. Good. Glad to see you. We're working on my first ever play set. This is going to be the Pro Wrestling Grind entryway to go with the action figures. Hey, Cody's in the chat. Good to see you, my friend. Doing good this evening. Got out in the sun. I got the tans coming back. Means I can look all jacked on stream again. It's a good day. So we're gonna start working on this design, and I have some ideas on how I want to do this, and there's a few problems I'm gonna have to overcome. But first, we're gonna start with the easy part, is just the two pieces, the two doors. Really, it's sort of just one piece because it's the same piece twice. And then we have to make the entryway, and we have to make something it can slide in. And I also have to make little flat pieces because I have some cool little add-ons that I'm going to be ordering off Amazon that these will come with. Uh, it's a spoiler, and I'm okay with it because you're all going to watch me design it anyway. But I found teensy tiny little scale spotlights that I'm going to have. This playset will light up. I'm very excited for that. I'm hoping that these will be ready to run, ready to go, be on the merch table for Pro Wrestling Grind May 24th. But we'll see. There's some problem solving to do in this, so we're gonna see how it goes. First, we're gonna go ahead and start with just the doors, and I just drag in a simple block. We start there. Uh, I do have I do have my figure with me. This is the tallest of the figures that'll be in the series, especially when he has his arms up. He's pretty tall. So I want to make sure that the doors are a size that he could pass through them. So I have my little digital micrometer here, and I've never actually measured just how big he is. All right, so at his tallest point, stretched as tall as he can become, he is about 138 millimeters. So if we make those entry doors 140, I think we're good. That gives us the clearance that we need. So we're gonna design this door laying down. We're gonna call this 140. Okay, and then for width, I'm thinking that these doors won't look quite as tall as or quite as wide as the actual grind doors. I do have a few parameters I have to work around. The first is similar to what I just did with height. I have to make sure the figure can fit through at his sort of widest set. So like tip to tip on the fingers here is kind of the widest he gets. Um, and also, because the doors have that grind logo on them, I need to make sure that Grind has some stickers they sell that I'm going to use to put the logo on the doors. I need to make sure that those stickers will fit and be visible. So he's about 97 millimeters wide. We got to be at least that wide. I'm going to jot that down real quick. Okay. But we also have to make sure, switching over to inches here, because I know that the grind stickers are 3 inches across. So I just want to make sure that all that's going to be visible, you know? All right, and that's about 76 millimeters. So 97 is plenty. That's going to look great. Okay, so we're gonna say if he's 97 wide, let's make the opening that the doors have to hit about 100. So each door needs to be about 50 millimeters wide. Let's call it 55. We'll go a little bit wide here. So 55 and 55 makes 110 across. Now the other parameter that hey, Bobby Gilbert in the chat, good to see you, my friend. The other parameter we're working within is the max print size of my 3D printer. Now it's on its base, it's 220 by 220. It can go as high as 250. That's millimeters. So let's go ahead and we're going to make this 55. So that's pretty good. We might even be able to fit both doors on one print here. So that's really nice. That'll be convenient when I go to print. Fewer times I have to run down and mess with the printers while it's running. And then for thickness, this is really going to be like a preference thing for me. I want to think like, what's a thickness that I trust it'll be pretty sturdy? What's thin enough for some of the functionality that I'm planning to build into this? I also don't want to use too much material on these because they can be a little heavy, get a little cumbersome as a play set. So I mean, my instinct is that 5 millimeters looks pretty good, but I think just in case, I'm going to go a little bit wider. We're going to call it 6. Yeah, I think 6 millimeters is going to be pretty good for a depth on this door here. Call that 6. Now, that would be, about done there, except we need a mechanism for the doors to slide inside of the entryway. This motion that you see on the video here, when Rip is opening and closing the grind doors. And I believe what I'm going to do for that is simply put sort of a T shape at the top of the door. And then on the entryway, I'm going to have a little groove that it can just slide inside of. Now, there are going to be some difficult things that we have to figure out with that design. Like I need stoppers so that they don't slide too wide open. Hey, Herobotic in the chat. Glad to see you, bud. But for now, let's go ahead and I'm going to make a copy of this piece. We get that top view. There we go. And I think we might just keep, yeah, maybe 5 is going to be good. Yeah, I think 5 ought to be thick enough that I can trust it to stay put. Yeah, I might even be able to go smaller than that. Yeah, we can go smaller than that. Let's go like a 3. All right, so we have that, and that piece has to be taller because it's got to stick out on each end. And again, a lot of this is just me kind of working on the fly, looking at my own design here. Now, if it's 6, I think we probably want, yeah, somewhere like a 16 maybe, something like that. So zoom in on our part here. And let's call this, let's call it maybe 12 is good. So I'm trying to think how much does it really need to hang over? We probably need 4 millimeters on each side, so 8 and 6 is 14. Is that right? Sounds right. Yeah, we're going to call that 14. And I'm going to get the right hand view. We're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, get that evened out. And so that's what each door is going to look like. It's going to have that little T-slot so it can hang and it can kind of slide. Hey, Joey Nails made it. Happy to see you, bud. We're working on the Pro Wrestling Grind playset. Just designing up the doors first, getting the less interesting part out of the way, because after that we have to make those girders that go around the whole set there, and that's going to be an interesting undertaking. All right. So that's our basic door, and there may be some changes that have to happen with that. But for now, I'm just going to move it out of the way. Because the thing I want to design now is going to be the top piece that goes across the top that's going to allow this to slide inside of it. All right. So we're going to go ahead and drop in another block. And now this is where having this other piece here is going to become very helpful. So it's 14 tall. So this is going to have to be wider than that. I'm thinking our pieces are going to be about, call it 30 millimeters. Yeah, I think 30 looks pretty good. These girder pieces are going to be some 30 millimeters. Something like that. It definitely doesn't have to be that deep. But right now I'm sort of just blocking out shapes. This entire piece is going to end up being made of much smaller pieces. So a piece like this is going to end up going away, really. Let's call that 30. All right, just in case. All right. So we need sort of a long trough that this is going to ride and that'll go on the top piece, and that's what this is going to become. So I got to steal some more measurements off of here. So that's 3 deep. So we probably want to go maybe 6, 7. So yeah, we probably want to go a solid 10 high on this. So let's go to about there. And now we're going to add our little trough that has to run through this. But we also need to make this the right length. So this piece is 55. So we called it 110 all the way across. But they do need room to slide. So we're going to call this is actually going to be a pretty long piece. It's going to have to be like 200 or so. Yikes. Well, that's all right, because I should have space for that on the print bed. All right. Yeah, looking like that. And now we need to make our little trough. So we made it 10 high, and that's 3. Ooh, it's actually going to have to be taller than that, isn't it? It's going to have to be like, call it like 13. There we go. Here, robotics got technical difficulties. Joey Nails, you got matches coming up this weekend, bud? Tell us what's going on. So that's 3. We're going to bump that up to 4. And then in this direction it's 14. We're going to bump that up to 15. Give everything an extra millimeter on all sides. Let's get our view on the right here. Get pretty centered there. Take it up to about there. Turn it into a hole. We're going to stretch it the whole length of the thing. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I'm actually going to make a duplicate of that. And we're going to see, this is, where's the measurement I'm looking for? 6 wide. So we need to go about 7. Well, first, let's let's come down to there. Get up to about there. This to be, if that's 6, we're going to make this 7. And we just got to center it. There we go. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Go ahead and group that. Aha. And now some of this will look a little bit more obvious. All right. Womp womp. Group that now. And now you'll see that what I'm doing is giving this somewhere that it can go here. And that'll fit inside of there. Just about like that. And it's going to slide. Hey, there we go. It's going to slide like that. That's going to be how the door moves. All right. And there will be 2 of them, so we're going to go ahead and Control D that. I'm going to allow a little daylight through the doors there. We'll more or less center them on that piece. Now we'll just bring this all up to 0. And that gives us sort of the base of what we're working on here. I believe if I close these ends up, that'll actually make it so that these doors will open far enough but won't slide out of their track. Now, of course, I have to be able to put them into that track, so I can't close that off just yet. All right. So for now, I'm going to leave that as is, and I'm actually going to go ahead and bring in a little box here, purely so that I'm going to cheat this just a little bit. Rather than doing a measurement, I'm just going to set this to about there as sort of an estimate. It's kind of my guess on how that needs to look. All right, now I'm going to take these. And you know what? I'm not even going to do that just yet. Because for right now, I also need to get a piece that's going to get a piece that'll line up with the rest of this. So this piece is how long? 200. Okay. Get that front view. Get it lined up. We're gonna set the length to 200 so it'll match the other piece. Now we're just gonna get everything slumped together. Oh, interesting. Okay. So I actually want to take both of those over to about there. That gives me a pretty good indicator that we're doing all right. And then copy that one, and move it over to kind of mirror on the other side. Then we can start our main construction here, the hard part. This is sort of, I'm just blocking it out for right now. So for right now, I want to take these track pieces. Well, you know what? We can make that a little smaller, I think, too. Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to pop this down till it's even with that. And do the same on these. Okay. Now I can come back here. I can select these pieces. We can just move them out of the way for now, because this is now our going concern. This is now the piece that we're working on. I'll raise this whole thing up just a hair, like let's call it 4 millimeters. And then bring these back down. Okay. Stretch this one up to meet. And you'll see why in a second, because basically I have to put little feet on the bottom of these here. And if I do that, the whole piece can stand. Without the little feet that go there, it can't stand. Now, the reason I had to make it taller just now was because these doors, when they slide, I don't want them bumping into the little feet that are going to go there. All right, so we're going to drop this in here. And for a thickness on the feet, I know I got clearance of 4 millimeters. I'm going to see what looks good to me. I think 2 millimeters is probably just fine. It doesn't sound that thick, but it really does end up being plenty. These all read as being 20. Can that be right? Oh, yeah, I guess it is. Somehow in my mind it was going to be bigger than that. Welcome back, Herobotic. I'm glad your replugging in of everything wasn't quite as traumatic as you'd thought it would be. Yeah, I do think I want to go wider than that. Okay. Well, that's all right, because we are once again just blocking things out here. This is just the rough shaping. So take this measurement here. We're going to make that 30. I guess maybe we'll just center that. I don't know. I guess I kind of want it on the inside, because I want this whole thing to fit on my print bed when I go to make it. And then for this, I want this to be nice and sturdy and not tip over too easy, so I kind of want it to be pretty big. Yeah, we might even go like 70 on these little feet. I think we are. All right. Let's get our side view there, make sure this is actually, yeah, that's going to work. And I am going to radius this just a little bit. I want it rounded. Because the feet on the real grind stage are rounded like that. Okay, make a copy. Bring it over there. All right, that's looking good. So again, when I say these are just blocked out just to sort of like show me the size and shape that I need, I really do mean that, because what I'm going to do now is start going in and actually making the structure. The structure on these is pretty interesting because again, it's the sort of like this girder material that's sort of framed out, and there's a few different ways I could do this. I could make this solid and just sort of highlight the edges, which I'm a little bit inclined to do that. It's going to take more plastic when I make the piece, but it will make it sturdier, and I think it's going to look pretty cool. Like, I think it'll have like a good look. It'll look like an old school toy. I could try to actually make it hollow and have all the little bits. That doesn't feel like the old Hasbro toys to me. So you're gonna see exactly what I'm talking about when I say that I can make this look cooler than it is, because I think I've got a pretty good idea on how to do this. All right, so guess what I want to do first. Oh, it's so hard to pick. All right, we're gonna take this, Control D, and let's get a front view there. And again, all these measurements, I'm kind of just looking at my micrometer and going like, what feels right? Like, what's a good size here? Yeah, I think 5 is going to be good here. So we're going to go 5, and that gives us our thickness there. And now I do want this to be a bigger piece though. Yeah, okay. You know what? We're going to lose that first. And for right now, I'm going to take this piece. We're just going to see 30, and we go 30, because that was the size I wanted. I wanted something, it looks chunkier here than it will be. Okay. Okay, about like that. And this one is also going to be 30. We're going to drop that on down. And then here I can just bring it out to meet on each end. Oh, I don't want it that low though, do I? Yeah, I guess we'll maybe go a little bit higher on it. Something like, you know what, we'll leave it. We'll leave it. I think it'll be okay. And then this one I'm gonna delete, Control D, and we'll bring it on over and just lock it in nice and square with everything. All right. So this is the beginning of our shapes here. And this is a very chunky version of this design, but you're going to see we're going somewhere pretty cool with it. So to make it look the way we want, what I'm going to do now, Control D, say 5, and I'm going to bring this out maybe 2 millimeters. Is that going to be too much? We could probably go 3. I think we're going to go 3 because it's going to be nice and pronounced. I do have this set so that all of my little snaps are a millimeter a piece, and that makes this real easy to play with. So now we Control D, Go to our front view, and we're just going to move this up till it's even at the top. And now we've kind of got these girder shapes coming out here. And that's what I want. I want to sort of just have raised pieces that are in the shape of the girders that we want. So I think that's good from that angle. All right. Control D that. We're going to bring it down to about a 5.75. I don't want 0.75. Give me some more fine control here. There we go. And then we want it coming up 3. Whoa, whoa, whoa. None of that. None of that. Hey, what'd I tell you? Come on. Here we go. Go back to the 1mm snap. Here we go. That's 3. And that's 3. At least it should be. We'll see in a sec. Make sure they're even. Nice. Okay. And then I'm going to Control D that. Get a nice front view here. Bring it over till it's even. And now you see I've got these sort of girders happening here. Then I'm going to go in and I'm going to add the cross pieces so that they're just raised. And it's going to look like the way that old toys used to do this. And I'm going to soften all the edges to sort of make them look kind of round. But I want to make sure that I actually have that done first. All right, so for right now, I'm going to delete this column altogether because it's not doing us any favors just yet. What I want to, I guess it doesn't hurt anything for it to be there. So I want to go in and add the little in-between bits here. In fact, I just realized I don't need the back ones here to come off. I only need the front to look that way. So we're gonna do a little cleanup here. This is the joys of designing on the fly. We're gonna go in. There we go, just like that. Okay, that's gonna work. Cool, 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 cool. Yeah, we really only need the design on the front. Anything more than that, and we're kind of like running the risk of things getting a little messy. So once again, I'm going to bring over our reference material. You can see I've made our sort of shapes here. And again, it's not going to be an exact replica. I'm looking for this to have the feel. It's going to feel like an old school 90s toy of this entryway. So now we need to get the sort of zigzagging in-between bits here. So for that, come in with a, come in with our cylinder here. And once again, I'm just going to kind of eyeball what size I think is going to be good. And I'm thinking like a 4.5. 4.5 across is going to be good. So 4.5 and then 4.5. Now let's get a front view here. And I want to move this to 45 degrees, make it nice and easy. I know Bobby says I can't wait to get one. Yo, I'm real excited with how this has been working out. I'm really looking forward to what we can end up doing here. All right, let's see. Is that going to be enough? We got to go just a hair longer. Call it 30, and then break down to our 45 degrees. And that's still not quite enough. All right, we're going to give it 1, 2, 3 more clicks just in case. Bring it to the 45. Now we're fully where we need it to be. And now we're going to bring it back till it's just set in like that. That's what we want. All right. Now I'm going to Control D, get our front view. We're going to move it up till it's directly across, and then we're going to mirror it. Like that. Now I'm going to take both of those, Control D, get our front view. We're going to do the same thing where we just move it up till it's right where we want it. Call it right there. Then we'll Control D again. Now this top one, just the very last one, I can just take down. It can be a little awkward, a little different. That's okay. We're all a little awkward and different in our own ways. That was super Bob Ross of me just now. All right, so that's looking pretty good. Like that's what I wanted. I wanted that little zigzaggy pattern to kind of match the girders there. So now I'm going to take just two of them. Control D. We're going to rotate the whole thing on its side. Get that front view again. Bring it up till it's here, and then bring it on over to like right about there. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Delete that. And now comes one of the fun parts. I get to break out sort of a little cheat code here. Because now I'm going to copy all that, deselect the stuff that I don't need selected at all. Now I'm going to Command D. I'm going to mirror it. And then I'm going to bring it all the way over till we're in line here. Just like that. I'm going to lose that one piece there. And now take those, Control D. Let's get a front-facing view and zoom in at least a little bit. And now we'll bring it over and then hit it again. Yeah, that's going to drive my perfectionism a bit crazy. So instead what we're going to do, we're going to take that, and that. And we're just going to squeeze the whole thing in to fit. Yeah. That's what we're after. That's our grind entryway. Yeah, let's put a happy little tree in this corner. It'll be our little secret. That is, I do get a little bit of a Bob Ross feel when I do some of this stuff. All right. Now I got to see if my initial design is still going to work for us, because there are elements of this that are going to be kind of difficult to reconcile. We got to make sure that we can. All right, so let's go ahead and raise this up 4 millimeters so that we have some clearance there. Get our top view, bring it on down here, just like that. Aha. And just there, we do have issue number one, is that technically the doors aren't wide enough now to fill in the gaps. If I make them too wide, we're going to have some issues with them opening. But I think we can split the difference here to where we call it close enough. So I'm going to take these two doors. I'm going to try to make sure that we're pretty well centered on this piece here. I want to say like that's about centered. I think that's good. And now I'm just going to take one door and I'm going to widen it until it goes just past. We can go a little bit further past. I think it's okay. I don't mind them sliding out to where they hang out in the open. I think that's just going to be part of what we have to deal with here. Delete that one. Control D, drop another one in here. We're going to call that the doors there. So they clear the little feet and won't bump there. They'll slide in their little track. In fact, I think we can probably take this whole thing and snug it up a little bit more there. Yeah, something like that. Kind of debating because I could bring that in a little bit. And then do the same with that. I don't want to start mucking with all that. That's okay though. All right, so that's all going to connect pretty well, I think. So now I do have some decisions I can make about how I want to 3D print this. Do I want to start do I want to hollow this out so that this piece is its own piece and I can glue it in there? Do I want to leave it as is? It gets a little tricky. If I print this piece vertically, it'll be real clean and won't need any cleanup. So that's going to be kind of nice. So I'm inclined to do it that way, where I have sort of a hollow part there. And if that's the case, I want this to snug up more. So that's what we're going to do just to get the sizing and everything the way we want it. So I'm going to bring it up till we're like here. I want this snug, I don't want a huge gap there. All right. So if that's the case, I'm going to bring in one of these hollow cubes. Whoa, it's way out of the way. I'm going to bring in a hollow cube here. This piece is how tall? 13. So we want this fit to be pretty snug here. So I'm going to call this like 13 point, call it 13.5. Is half a millimeter going to be enough that I'm happy with the tightness, but also comfortable with the gap? Boy, half a millimeter doesn't even seem like enough for me to feel good about it. 1 millimeter might be okay. Yeah, I guess we're going to call it 14 millimeters high. And then it can stretch on forever. It doesn't really matter. Let's get our view on the right here. And I'm just going to line this up so that it overlaps on each side. And if I zoom way in, you can just make out those lines there that this is going to do exactly what I want it to. All right, let's make sure it's looking solid. We're covered in all directions. Good. So now I'm going to just get these out of the way. And now comes one of the big moments of truth. We're going to make this whole piece solid. One whole thing. We're going to group the whole shebang. When we do that, it's going to give us the gap where this will attach. Yeah. And it gives us, there's our designs on the front. Oh, this is actually looking really cool. This went considerably faster than I thought it would. given the complexity of this little toy design and the number of things I had to be concerned with. That said, we're not quite done yet. I do want to, let's see, let's get this snugged in so it'll fit about there, which I think looks good. All right, let's give a little bit of a gap here. And now I'm just for the sake of my eventual thumbnail here, I'm gonna give us some coloring here. Keep that about the same color. Yeah. Oh, this is gonna look so cool once I have the grind logo on there and everything. So let's review sort of the design here. I'm psyched with how fast this went because it might mean that the stream ends up being a little shorter than I thought, and if that ends up being the case, I get to start my workout early. Oh, you know what I do need to add? These doors need a little handle to pull on, just a little so that you can open and close it easy. So we're going to add that for sure. But you can see we've got this groove here. And for our quick review, this is going to slide. Both these doors will be able to slide just like that, which is great. This whole thing, this piece will be its own piece printed just for ease of getting everything really crisp and clean when I do print it. And then here, we've got all the little girder details on the front and the little feet so that it should stand really firmly. I also went ahead and I was sort of thinking through the sizing. Those feet are about 70 millimeters deep, which, in inches, it's a little less than 3 inches deep. When you think of the average action figure, you're looking at sort of a similar, this is the Tajiri Heels and Faces, shout out Joey Nails lending this to me. It's almost the same depth. So any shelf that you were going to display this action figure on would have to be deeper than this anyway. So this little entryway display should fit on pretty much any shelf that you're going to have your toy on. And you could put your toy right in front of the doors. You could have the doors open and have them stand in between them. And obviously, if you have a more sophisticated setup with a toy ring and those kinds of things, you could set it up with that. Another thing I really like about this, it's going to print, I believe it should print in just 4 pieces. We've got the track, one of each door, and the archway. Now the archway I could break down, I could split it on these seams here. And that might make some of the printing a little cleaner and nicer. So I may consider that. I'm not married to that idea though. Like I feel like it's gonna be okay printing the way it is. I might print it like on its back, kind of tilted, and it'll have supports back here where you would never see them. There's a lot of things I can think through on how I would orient this for printing. As it is, the doors, because I gave it a T slot, um, I have to print them on their back and then remove support material from under there, which is not totally ideal, but not the worst. I mean, I could print them upside down; they would stand on the T. Oh wow, actually, that might be what I do. But we are, once again, we're not done with these doors. They need a little handle so you can move the doors easily. So let's go ahead and we're going to drop in a cube. And once again, I'm just going to use my my micrometer here to get an idea of what I think a good little handle size might be. And I mean, it could be pretty substantial, and I don't think it's going to bother anybody. Yeah, let's say 30 millimeters tall. And again, this is just my own preference. So 30 millimeters tall, and then let's call it like, yeah, 8 deep ought to be good. So I'm going to make it 9 deep and let it sink into the door a little bit. And then for width for grabbing, I'm trying to think. Let's see. So that's our height. That's it. Really doesn't have to be that big at all. Call it like 6. Yeah, 6 is good. Yeah, so something sort of like that. Just something we can get our hands on. And of course, I'm gonna radius this so that it feels a little more like a little handle. That might be a little extreme. Yeah, let's go about there. Now let's get our view on the right. And this part is just by feel. You know, this is totally just where I think it ought to be. We'll line it up with the edge as best we can. All right. Once again, that height looks okay to me. And now we'll just bring it in until it kind of sinks in. Something like that. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. Cool. And I am going to go ahead and group that piece. Put it back to its light gray appearance. All right. Let's get a nice backed out shot here. Now I'm wondering, is there a color I can make this that's going to look better on yeah, maybe something closer to that. I just want the details to show on a thumbnail image, you know. Where the doors were never green at Grind, right? They've been silver and they've been black. I feel like black is not going to help us here. Well, maybe black's okay. Yeah, that's going to be the look for the thumbnail for sure. Um, but I've just remembered we're not totally done yet. I have to, in another window, I have to open something here. I do have little spotlights that I'm buying for these. So there's going to be some custom lighting to go with these. And I want to make sure that I've given adequate place for the lights to attach. So I'm just going to real quick take a good look here at this item that I saved. There we go. Because it thankfully a lot of the items listed on the let's call it the I don't know, the jungle website. What's the code word for Bezos's awful place? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so 3/4 of an inch, which is 0.75. And then I switch this back into millimeters. It's about 20. Okay, so it'll fit directly on top of this. And I think that's going to be how we do it. I don't know. I kind of wanted it on the front. Oh, the rainforest. That's what we call it. I kind of wanted it to go like right here, the little spotlights, so they would hang. I'm worried that's going to put a lot of weight on the front of this piece, and I might want to go on top. Although we do have the doors kind of hanging off the back, it might all even out. This is the complicated part of toy making. I don't want to hide too much of the detail that I added here either. Yeah, I think we'll just plan. I'm just going to plan to attach the piece up on the top here and have no. That's I'm guys. I'm flipping and flopping on my opinions here, so you'll have to forgive me. I'm going to do it. I'm going to put a special piece that's just there to attach. And I think I need it to be 20 millimeters is what I determined. Yeah, because that's over 3/4 of an inch. That's perfect. All right. So we're gonna zoom in on this guy. Oh, he's already starts at 20. Love that. All right, and then for thickness, we're gonna bring it way down. We'll pop this guy facing this way. And now we'll go to the right here. Bring it up. I kind of do just want to like have it be right there and have the lights point down. Maybe I put them toward the middle. Yeah, I think that's what we need to do. Is we need to. I was just gonna put them like here, but I think that kind of kills some of the detail, right? I feel like if it's like here, and then we do another one to match over here, maybe that's what we want. Let's see. It's kind of like there. Is that about right? That seems about right. Seems about even. Yeah, that can work. All right. So now let's take both of these and we're gonna just sink it back until it's flat. That's perfect because these lights need to attach. Well, we could even maybe go in a little bit more. Oh no, no, there we go. Yeah, just like that, I think is gonna be what we're after. That ended up working out really well. That's good. Yeah, because we're gonna have two little lights that go there. Um, I don't wanna give too much away on what the lights are, but they are little battery powered lights that are gonna look exactly the part for this. So I'm excited for that. Let's go ahead and group that then. Group, and that's gonna take a second. We'll go ahead and see. It was this color. All right, there we go. Yeah, and that's going to be our grind entryway. I'm so stoked on how fast this went. I really thought this was going to be a lot harder than this. Um, that said, we are going to call that a Perry stream. I'm going to real quick just bring over what we were making again so that we can look at the two next to each other because I am stoked on how this has come out here. The grind entryway, there it is. Modeled up and ready to go. I'm probably going to load up one of my printers and start printing some of the test pieces for this tonight. Depending on how long they take, I could have a working prototype ready to go by the end of the week. So that's going to be the plan, and I'm so stoked. I've not yet determined what my price point on these is going to be. Once I put it into my Slicer app and I see how much plastic it takes, how many machine hours it's going to take, it is kind of a big piece, so moving it around is going to take up a lot of space in the merch bag, so I got to be mindful of that. Um, but I do think there's probably going to be a deal if you buy the new Perry figure that we can make this happen to go with it for a sort of a bundle price. We'll figure out exactly what it's going to look like afterwards. But for now, that has been the Perry stream. I'm going to go ahead and hop us over, and you know what we're going to do. We're going to go. We're going to raid our good buddy Johnny Torres. He's going to be excited to see all of us roll in early here, and I'm going to be excited to get to my workout like an hour earlier than normal. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. It's I threaten it every week that there could be some extra streams this week, and I think this is the week it's going to happen because I have a bunch of figures I need to paint. I've got everything set up down there, so I think we're probably going to end up back down in the workshop again later this week. Just keep your alerts on, keep your eye on my socials. I'll let you know when. Thank you all so much for hanging out, and we're going to go raid Johnny Torres. And I will see you over there on his channel. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Here we go.